I'm very honored today to present to you one of my favorite people. I only bring you guys and girls my favorite people. I don't. Tonight on the show we have the world's well. I'll go on a limb and say the world's only DIY punk rock magician, Michael Casey, in the house. In the how you doing, Michael?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, it's so funny. Chris Farron
Yeah.
uh gave me that moniker.
Oh, did he really?
Oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's like he's like, you're like he's doing his punk celebrity and you
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
me like
Yeah.
punk magician celebrity or whatever. And I was like, that's kind of true. I hadn't really thought about it, but so I just kind of owned it from that point forward.
I love Chris. He's a hilarious human being.
He's
uh,
insanely hilarious.
so I mean, if there was God, if there was another DIY punk rock magician, I mean, I have a family full of Italians. I'd have to put a word into the family to take him out.
To the
Yeah, yeah.
thing.
So I would just have, wherever he's at, he's probably somewhere in
Yeah.
New York. But
I ain't really
if
worried
that ever
about
happens, I got your back. I will.
it. I
I'll
ain't
take.
worried about it.
Yeah.
There's enough magic to go around, man. Like, you know, I never understood there. I do I do have someone, a magician who fucking hates me for what I do, which is really funny.
You serious? Really?
Yeah,
You're the
like
most
yeah,
from my perspective, you're one of the most unhateable human beings I've ever come across.
like no one's unhateable.
Yeah, at
like
times everybody can be, but yeah, yeah,
I had one guy one time tell me, this is before like everything really took off, when I was like doing the punk stuff,
yeah.
and they were a singer songwriter, and they pulled me aside one time, um, at a festival we were both performing at, and was like, man, I just really don't fucking like you. I can't stand you. I don't know why everybody fucking likes you, but I can't stand you. I hate you. And you're just a tourist in this whole music thing.
So they thought it was more or less more gimmicky. They just thought you were a gimmick, I guess, and they
Okay,
thought they
I
they
don't know
took
what to
offense.
say or whatever. Yeah, like they made me feel like I didn't belong in a space I was like kind of creating for myself, I guess, which is fine. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I kind of don't, but like it was just weird that like I guess if I was that person, I would have stopped and thought, well, if everybody likes this person and I'm the only one that doesn't, like maybe it's me. But that would have been me.
No, no, no. Yeah, I could. So there was it was during the pandemic. It might have been even early 2020 when Missy Marissa from Manic and Pussy
Yeah, yeah.
she had made a comment that she wanted to see more alternate forms of entertainment open up for rock bands when we come back from the
The
disaster.
pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, right, the disaster. And people had variant, but most people were down for that. But I guess there's a small percentage of people who I guess the word is purists or traditionalists who don't want to see any kind of entertainment outside of what they know from the past 30, 40 years. So
Yeah, no, I
I
get
mean,
it.
they're the
I get
closest
it. Oh
minded.
yeah, oh yeah, speaking of, yeah, can you see that?
Let me see. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Manic Pussy shirt. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
Oh god, OG. I used to go see them when they would tour through and play these really small places to like 10 or 12 people. Love their music ever since
Yes.
right here. I'm Philly tight. Like I love Philly bands. Like
Yeah, no, no, they're the pride of Philly. I saw them at this past last year at Underground Arts. And
mhm.
have any I know you said have you ever done I saw you in Asbury Park.
Oh,
We're gonna
okay.
figure out what year that was. But and I kind of know we'll get into that in a second. But have you ever been to Philly doing your work, or have you just been through
Yeah.
with friends?
I did TLA with the old 97s.
Oh,
I
nice.
did Everybody Hits with Thin Lips and the Pine Barrens.
I think that place
Um,
closed.
Done a couple like New Year's Mummers shows in the Menzingers practice space for a couple years, like
Oh,
two or
nice.
three years in a row. That was always fun. Um, have I been back to Philly since? Yeah, I just kind of just pop in there every once in a while. But I've done a couple shows. Oh yeah, oh I opened for the fucking War on Drugs. What am I thinking?
Oh,
Right before
nice.
the pandemic, I opened for the War on Drugs at the Fillmore in Philly.
Okay, wow, nice.
That was probably the last time I was there.
Yeah, Fillmore. That's awesome. I love that venue.
Yeah, I mean,
Train
like I
fish.
said, for Philly, man, like I just know so many of the great bands, and I've watched them come up, like Manzo's, Mississippi, Modern Baseball, Slaughter Beach Dog, War on Drugs, Amos Lee, like Kurt Vile. Like it's just like Philly's such a great music town.
It
Um,
is, and it's something that I'll never take for granted. After we lost 2020 and a good deal of 2021, not having that. I mean, it was really a I don't want to say awakening because I knew how much it meant to me and since very young age. But when you don't have that, it it just it really messes with you, and it's something that and I shouldn't just say music. I mean, all forms of
yeah, yeah,
public entertainment is like what you do, which I call art. I'm sure you call it
yeah.
art too.
It's
Yeah,
art for sure. Art. It's always fun. I just got back from a show in Nashville for New
yeah,
Year's Day, and it was funny because like it's just a bunch of people who had no idea what I was about, and then when I did my show, they were just totally like
yeah,
lost in my. It's funny because like when I think I first started out, I was like I was good. I definitely was good, but now I'm
yeah,
like moving into this realm of like it's so strong now. I love performing.
yeah.
Like what I've worked on over the pandemic, which was all mind. I didn't actually pick up a pack of cards in the whole pandemic pretty much.
Right.
I just let it go and then thought about it. And so when I come back, I was like kind of like what you were saying. I wanted it to be mm, more connective. Like we had lost all these connections for like a year and a half, 2 years. And so when I wanted to come back and do magic, I wanted it to be super connective and super engaging. So like all I did was think about how do I do that. So that's what I'm at now. It's fun. It's like very Buddhist inspired and very like destiny, universe driven. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird. It
Well,
works.
yeah,
It works.
weird is good in my book. And that's what I was kind of gonna ask you, how has it been coming back from the pandemic and getting back in front of crowds again? Is it do you feel it do you feel like it's just like riding a bike again? Do you feel like it's better than previous than before? Or
Yeah.
is it therapeutic? What do you think? How
All,
can you describe it?
all the above. I think my first show back was I opened with for Off With Their Heads when they came through
Okay, cool. Yeah.
in
Love
Chapel
them.
Hill, and they had asked me to do that, and I just kind of got up there and did it,
Yeah.
and I had done it in a couple of years, so it was just like riding a bike for sure, but
Right.
it was so much fun because like I said, I missed so much of like the connecting with people, and like I don't ever want to take that for granted again.
Yeah.
'Cause, it's kind of like a magic on like music you can play for yourself. Like
Right.
like, oh, that's fun, and I'll do that. You can't really like fool yourself with magic, so you're just like kind of running through the motions in some ways. It's
Yeah.
not really good or bad because you don't really. It's like trying to like visualize a movie from behind the camera. It's like you're seeing
Mhm.
all this other stuff, and it's like really hard for you to like see. I mean, so you have to really kind of, in some ways, dissociate a little bit. So I wanted to just get into the headspace of the people coming
Right.
to shows in whatever form that is, and like how do I spin this situation to make it like so much more meaningful to them. It's been going
Yeah.
really great so far. Honestly, it's been really great. It's been super fun. Like now I don't even like even rehearse before shows. I just kind of show up and let them dictate how the
Yeah.
show goes. So it's like kind of like, I mean, I have stuff
I mean,
I'm
that's good though. That's a good way to. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, you go off of feel, and it's almost a form of say it's different than improv, but
it
it's
is.
characteristic of improv. Yeah,
Yeah,
improvisation.
totally
Yeah,
improv. Yeah, it's totally improv. Yeah, it's like I know where I'm going to start. I know where I'm going to end. I know some stuff that's going to happen in the middle, but everything else is kind of like
be
be
lost.
like, oh yeah, I'm going to fucking swing out. It's going to be based on how they're interacting.
Right, right,
Yeah, people are
gotcha.
weird, man. Some people
Yeah,
are so.
I had a guest. I think it was my last guest on the show. I think it was, yeah, Mike Hickey. His stage name is Major Entertainer. Mike H. He does strange music, Stages, opens up for a comedian named Neil Hamburger. I don't know if you've
Oh
ever
yeah,
heard of.
I love
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah.
and opens up for Neil. And one of the things that he told me was he loves playing in front of people and crowds who have no idea what his act is, who are not fans of him, have no
Yeah.
clue what it is. Do you echo those sentiments? Like, do you like performing in front of people? Like, what the fuck's this magician doing in front of me? I don't get
Yeah.
it. What the hell's this shit? Where's his top hat? Where's his Where's his rabbit?
Yeah, I mean, so when I went on tour with the old 97, so I did like 2 tours with them. We did
Yeah,
about 40 dates on like pretty much East Coast, West Coast, Midwest.
yeah,
And their people were there to see them
right.
100%.
Oh, of
So
course, yeah,
every night was kind of a challenge of like, can I win these people over? I made the mistake of, well, I didn't make the mistake. It was the routing. We started in like Seattle and went Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, like LA, San Diego.
right.
I was fucking crushing it on the West Coast. Like I
Nice,
felt I
nice.
was like, oh shit, I like these people get it. They're like whatever. I'm like, and then we were literally going to Richmond over like 2 days and then up, all the way to like Maine
Yeah,
and then back to like Pittsburgh or something. And like I was like, man, I'm gonna be on the East Coast now, my people and shit like that. And it was awful. Like, it was so awful. Like East Coast people were just so like fucking mean and yelling. And I
oh
remember
man.
we were in Irving Plaza and Rhett Miller was so
Okay,
Rhett Miller was opening solo,
right,
and then I would perform and then the old 97s would come on. And for those of you who don't know, Rhett Miller is the lead singer of the old 97. So he would
right.
do like solo stuff. Then you need a break. I would come in and do like almost like an hour set. And then the old 97s would play. And then Rhett asked me, he was like, how was your New York City experience, show? And I was like, man, I just couldn't get them to shut the fuck up. They just want to talk and stuff. And then he was like, and I don't know if you know Rhett Miller, he's got gorgeous hair.
Right.
He was like, somebody said that and he's a very sweet man. So he
Yeah.
goes, somebody said I had a soccer mom hair. And I was, oh shit. And I was like, man, New York just fucking hates us, man. It's okay. We don't, it doesn't have to be, don't have to win them all. But yeah, Boston, not great. They were kind of assholes, sort
Yeah.
of.
Now do you see, I come from a comedy background, and I
uh,
did DIY comedy for years on the internet. But and I've done open mics though, stand up in
right.
Philly, and I know, not particularly when I did it, but I know how assholes can be in the crowd. And I've always said if I ever had to deal with that, I would be prepared with shit to 10 times worse to give back. Do you just give them the side? Because sometimes silence is worse than not give them attention, or do you throw back at them when someone's just not feeling,
Yeah,
or being ignorant?
I do a little bit of both. So like I kind of give them a little bit of grace that maybe they'll like shut up
Yeah,
and go about their way.
right.
It's only happened to me like maybe like 3 or 4 times on stage.
Good.
Um, and it's always like one person. It's never like the
Hmm.
whole crowd. It's like one dude out of like
One guy, of course. Yeah.
one or like a couple buddies or something. And so I'll kind of ignore it for a while until if it continues and I feel like I have to address it. And I'll try to address it. And I give them like a nice I give them a nice pass at first. I'll go, hey man, you know what? I have just got like 45 minutes left, or 20 minutes left, 15 minutes left. It was like, if you want, get a drink and I'll be done. And you can come back here and see your favorite band in 15
Yeah.
minutes and stop ruining it for everybody else. And at one time, this guy like you can't hear
Right.
like I'm on stage. You just hear like burp, 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 burp. It's like the peanuts,
Hmm. Yeah. The adults on peanuts. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, would somebody like put a cock or a drink in this guy's mouth so he would shut the fuck up? And the whole entire crowd died. They were just because I'd give them the grace, I was like,
Yeah.
hey, we'll be done in like 15 minutes. And the funny part, the way my show's structured, it's kind of funny, and then it gets kind of weird pretty fast and gets progressively more strange and then gets kind of like scary.
Yeah.
Um, with some of the stunt stuff I do, but like um they're always in the same moment where I just want to, it's this beautiful thing. And I've got the entire room of like 1,000 people just dead quiet, like hanging on my every word. And that's when they decide to be like, I'm going to disrupt this with my mouth fart or whatever they're going to do.
It's ridiculous.
It's just weird. I
Yeah.
mean, nobody, and everybody, the one thing I've learned is that like that's probably that person's first time they've considered heckling or just a handful of time, but it is not the first time I've been heckled. So,
Right.
hecklers beware.
Yeah.
This is not the first time people have dealt with this, and you'll probably get served pretty hard.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm with you on that, man. So
Did you see there's like a really great documentary, I think called Heckler that
yeah.
oh, that was so good, where he went and he found all the people that like were being
Went
mean to him and
went
shit.
to I think he went to their house and stuff, right?
Is
Yeah.
that Nick Swartzen? I feel like it's like Nick Swartzen.
I think Swartzen was in
Jamie,
it. Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie,
Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie
Jamie
Kennedy.
Kennedy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Jamie Kennedy. I found that so useful.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. And Bo Burnham handled it. I watch other performers, whether comedians or musicians or whatever.
Yeah.
I love watching another performer like perform. But
Right.
Bo Burnham did it the best, where somebody yelled out in one of his specials and he was like, "Oh, did they not give you one of these microphones when you got in here?" "Oh, that's right, because I'm performing and you're not.
Yeah.
So stop interrupting my show." And he just dealt with it like that. That was pretty hot. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll have to use that one sometime. I never have, but it would be really good. Be like, "Did you not get one of these microphones?" "Oh, that's so weird." I thought
Really
this was
the equivalent of just going to wherever that uh asshole works and just yelling at him while he tries to do his job. So I mean,
yeah, no,
consider
absolutely.
it.
Being like, yeah, great wrench there.
Yeah.
What are you using, a 10mm socket? I thought this was an American car or whatever. I don't know.
So yeah. No, exactly. But I think we've given them enough time. But so what I wanted to talk about
Sure.
before I forget was like I said, well, we connected on the internet, but before that, I had seen you live in Asbury Park. It was kind of a weird show. It was during Home for the Holidays, Bouncing Souls.
Oh yeah.
And it was, I think, I don't know if it was.
It was me and the Menzingers acoustic.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I think that's what it was.
They asked me to do it, and they were like, "Well, what band do you want to play with?" And I was like, "Well, I was already gonna go to Philly afterwards anyway, so I recruited Greg and Tom to play that as a Menzingers acoustic to like that would be fucking rad."
Right,
They didn't really play acoustic much, and they kind of owed me because when we first met like 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
I was trying to get them to do a show, like an acoustic show, because I thought it would be really good. So I ended up flying to Philly, and then we all kind of came down together and like did that show. And I think like Kai Tana played, and like Roger Harvey, and like all the people. And I love the Bouncing Souls; they're so great. Yeah, and I think I got on the stage of the Stone Pony that night. They were like, "Can you open?"
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, so like, I just kind of like spent everything I was doing here, but yeah, I'll figure something out, I did, I think it was fun. Was it a good show? I don't even.
Yeah, it absolutely was. But one thing that sticks out in my mind is it, and this is kind of like, because I can't quite remember exactly what year it was, but I think I could give you a tidbit of information that could help us figure out what year that was. I remember you vividly still going with the moniker of Magic Mike. This was probably it might have even been like the last year. It might have even been like the summer before the fucking movie came out.
Yeah, I want to say it was probably like 2012.
Yeah, probably around there, 12 or 13 or something.
Yeah, because like it would have been something like that. But yeah, I couldn't, because I had that name for so long. Yeah. Just it was given to me. I didn't even pick it. I didn't want to be Magic Mike. It sounds weird, but like, Mike, and you do magic, and then your people are like, "Oh, it's fucking Magic Mike," and they're like, "Oh, that's like Alcoholic Mike." It's kind of like,
No, you're much better served without it. I'm glad you dropped
that's
it.
Why I switched to Casey Magic, so I could be like, it was at least my last name in Magic instead of my first name in Magic, or I don't know. Yeah, fucking Steven Soderbergh, man. this whole stripper with a heart of gold bullshit is like, I'm so over it.
Yeah, garbage.
He's a good boy. He just likes to gyrate and dance all the time, you know.
Look at him.
Look at him. He's done flipping off a bridge. I mean, I saw the movie 3 times and it never got better. Like I
No,
kept wanting
give it a
it to
shot.
get better. Matthew McConaughey, though, fucking rules in this movie.
He
If you
rules
have
in most
seen it,
movies. Awesome actor. Yeah.
have you
Yeah.
seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He does the lawbreaker speech. We used to quote that all the time. He was like, the law says, you know, and he does that whole thing. And like,
Yeah.
he's so good, like, so good. He's such a great actor. But then the rest of it was just like a shit show. And I was like, wow, Steven Soderbergh, you've went from Sex Lies and Videotape to Stripper with a Heart of Gold. I don't know, man. Like,
I'm kind of yeah, yeah, no, I've been thinking that I'm pretty sure that Channing Tatum fell off the mainstream radar. Is he done? Is he where's he work? I don't wish
yeah, no,
I don't
no.
wish anyone I don't wish anyone to not get work, but I don't know. Is he still
I saw him in Bullet Train, that movie that came out recently.
okay? Oh,
He's
he's
pretty
still
funny
getting
on
work.
that.
All right,
I mean,
all
I
right.
guess he does like guest spots now. I mean, I guess he just
Yeah,
makes Magic Mike like mailbox money. You know, like
yeah.
it's like he did one
It's
movie and then he's probably still like, you know, when they licensed the tour, you know, when
every time it airs, he gets money. Yeah.
yeah. He's like he's gonna patent his like NFT of him gyrating or some shit, and he's gonna make $1 million because like all these like fucking 49-year-old women are gonna want to have it on their phone. Um, that's not a slam against 49-year-old women. It's
Well,
just,
no, they're fine.
you
Now,
know,
the 49-year-old women are,
unattainable, dude, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
You say
If
that's
there's any,
true?
if there's 49-year-old women out there, I just, you should know that we love you. We love you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I know. I just like it just seems like such a strange, like the women. So I don't know if I told you this, but when the movie came out, I was on Twitter and I was Magic Mike, so people were hashtagging, and it was me and this DJ from like Miami or Florida, Magic DJ Magic
Oh,
Mike.
he had a name. He had the hashtag. He had the name too. Okay.
Yeah, so we both
Okay.
had a name. We were like friends on Twitter and stuff because we were the only two Magic Mikes. It was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then when the movie came out, everybody was hashtagging the Magic Mike. And then I thought it would be funny to respond to all
Mhm.
the tweets. And these women would be like, oh my God. I remember one specifically where this girl goes, hey ladies, bring a change of panties. Magic Mike is coming to Lexington tomorrow. And like Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be funny. I was like, man, shit, I didn't even know I had a show in Lexington, Kentucky. You're all on the guest list. Don't worry about the panties, right? And then who the fuck are you? Well, you try to think of something witty through all these
Yeah.
things. And then the next thing you know, there's been 400 more tweets in like the like 20 minutes that you've spent like responding to 5. So I just was like, this is gonna be a tsunami of effort that even my truest, purest form of being funny is not
Yeah.
going to sustain.
Yeah. It got to the point where I'm sure you got sick of it. So you just, kind of.
You just have to go with roll with it at a certain point. But people think they're funny. Like, oh, Magic Mike. And I was like, yeah. I haven't never heard this before. I've really never heard this before, you know.
So that's they can drain on you after a while, but
It's just
yeah.
I want to go to the Rick and Morty universe where Magic Mike never happened and see what my life would be.
Did they
Like,
make part 2? I think they made a
oh
part
yeah. I think it's like it's not
Magic
called
Mike
it's
Returns.
called XXL.
Magic.
Why do I
Oh,
know?
okay.
Why do I fucking know this? I have no idea.
I mean,
But
they could have went with a more creative. They could have just like got a guy named Ed, Magic Ed, Magic.
yeah, like where's Magic Carl?
Well, it's not
Where's Magic fucking where's
yeah,
Magic Fernando?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So Michael, I kind of know the how much word of mouth has helped your career in magic.
Oh,
But
100%.
I have a lot of people at home watching this right now who have no idea how that happened. And I know um, early on in your career, you had some spots for like I think Cheryl Crow, right, was one of
Oh
them,
yeah, even before that, like
or even
Miranda.
before that, yeah. Oh,
Like
Miranda Lambert, yeah.
yeah,
And it's
so
all like I said, it's all like kind of like passing the good
mhm.
word around, right? So can you
Yeah.
explain that to people who have no idea how you networked your way into this
Yeah, I
situation?
mean, I was like always probably since like 2000 like 3. I was just kind of always I was kind of getting into like local music at the time. So in 2003 I was like fucking like 28 or 29 or something.
Yeah.
And so I was like kind of getting in, and there was these bands I was really liking, and Americana was kind of taking off. So I was going to see like the Drive-By Truckers, and I'm seeing all these bands, Lucero.
All right.
And I would just kind of be at these shows, but they were so lightly attended. Like those bands are so huge now, but back then they'd play like 5-10 people, you know, it wouldn't be that big a deal.
Yeah.
And so I would go, and then we'd all hang out, and then somebody would be like, oh, it's fucking Magic Mike. And they're like, you do magic. And so I would do it. Well, then when they would come back through, they'd hit me up and they'd be like, oh, now we brought these other 2 bands with us. Like, you should do magic for them. You know, that became like, I was like a ghost story that bands told other bands about. When you go to North Carolina, there's a guy. And there were people that would seek me out. Off With Their Heads did. A guy named Johnny Corndog did. You know, it was really funny because people talk about it when they're on the road.
Right.
And, that just kind of kept building, and I was getting kind of attention from I got attention from this guy named Will Hogue. He was pretty cool, and he had played some shows with my friends that see me and stuff, and he actually wrote a song that became a hit for the Eli Young band called Even If It Breaks Your Heart. And he had gotten so much money for this because it was like a #1.
Right.
He was like, I want to fly you to Nashville to do my New Year's Eve party. And this is like 2008 or 09 or something.
Okay.
And so I flew out there, and then like it was like Miranda Lambert's manager, his brother, Josh Hogue at the time, who's now gone on, he just writes for Kane Brown. He's like huge in Nashville, and Chris Young and stuff. And met a good friend of mine named Jordan Powell. He was Miranda's tour manager. And then I met one of the Pistol. So he had this like kind of like party of people that were there. And then Jordan saw me, and then he was like, I think Miranda would like you. And then, you know, 2 months later, I'm doing Miranda at this theater, and they have me a green room, and then all the other bands in that band are like talking, and then they want to see you know. So like once you kind of like hit this stream, it's really interesting. It's like I love hearing stories. Like Dwight Yoakam still tells everybody that if somebody brings me up, they go, that guy fucking scares me. And I love that I scared Yoakam because he terrified.
Oh God, yeah, Dwight Yoakam, yeah, I loved them in Sling.
Dude.
Have you saw Sling Blade years ago, right?
Oh yeah. He's a great actor. Oh yeah, he's not really far off of that character. Like,
wow, really?
Yeah, he was like, so it was really funny. I was by this company, E-Tix, that does this hopscotch music festival here in Raleigh.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, what do you want for payment? Like, you know, a couple $1,000s, whatever. And I was like, no, I want to meet Dwight Yoakam. I was like, I'll do all the magic that you want the whole weekend for your clients. I don't want any payment. I want some wristbands for the thing, all access. And I want to meet Dwight Yoakam. They're like, we don't have any control over that. I'm like, well, if you love me like you say you do, you'll make it happen. And it was just kind of this like empty threat. I didn't really mean it. I was just was like, so I got a little bit drunk, and then he hit me up and was like, Dwight wants to fucking meet you. And I was like, oh shit. He's like, go over here and go to the bus and stuff. So I get on the bus. Dwight Yoakam is losing his fucking mind about like the monitors and the amps not having covers on them at some festival. And he's just like bitching, like, it's me and my buddy, this girl I was seeing, and his wife, and that was it. That was the whole bus. And Dwight is just like pacing the bus going, I'll fucking pay for this shit, goddamn, leave it out in the fucking rain and blah blah blah. And he would stop and like get up in my face, like really be like, and you know what I mean. And then he would just walk around. He did that for 30 minutes, thankfully, and I sobered up because I was fucking wasted. I was like, what is happening? And then he was like, and at the end of it, he goes, like, after 20 minutes of talking, he was like, so I hear you do magic.
You got it just got the mood change. The mood change right there.
Let me find my shit. Yeah, and I did it. And then like the guy, his manager came on and was like, oh, it's time to go, y'all. We gotta go. And he's like, no, I like this kid. He's like, come back in 15 minutes. He's like, dude, you know, so that became a thing. Chris Stapleton, Brad Paisley, Osborne, Laura Jane Grace. Like, he's been so great. And I've done a lot of just private functions and parties for them. You know, Ashley Longshore, she's like a big artist that I love down in New Orleans. She always has me do parties for her, and like Dierks Bentley. Like, I mean, just so many people. And it all started with that one Will Hogue party.
Yeah.
right? And it was kind of like introducing, and then people talk, and then more people,
That's
and
how
then
it happens. Yeah.
so, yeah, it's definitely a really pure, authentic, and organic situation I've created for myself. But I like to think that it's based on I'm a decent human being and a good performer.
Yeah, absolutely. They can see that. And speaking of somebody you just mentioned, Laura Jane Grace, I saw her, if you can see where I'm pointing to, that poster right there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Oh,
saw
that was
her
at
at
the
Four Seasons.
Four Seasons. Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that they did that with her and Brandon
yeah, it
Kelly,
was at the
right?
place where Rudy Giuliani was going,
Sweating shoe polish.
sweating tar out of his ears. And I love, that's one of those shows you'll never forget. And
Hell
I
no.
was at work when the tickets went on. They announced it, and the tickets went on sale like an hour later or something. I jumped on it. I got a ticket, and I'll never forget that. And I met Laura after the show, and it was amazing. Amazing. I love, I grew up with I love Against Me, and
Yeah.
I hope she can record another. Yeah, wouldn't you love another Against Me album? I would kill for that.
I mean, like she is so quintessentially against me, even if it's not against me, it's
That's
kind of
true. That's true though, because I love her solo stuff too.
yeah.
Like that, especially the one she dropped during the pandemic. I think it was like last year. That whole album's really good.
Yeah, no, everything like what was the last? It wasn't Transgender Dysphoria Blues, was it? There was one after
No,
that.
shit. I know I have it on my iPhone. Trying to let me look at my music.
Yeah, I'm looking it up too. But I mean, I was such a huge Against Me fan. So, meeting her and everything was just like fucking
Yeah, no, and
oh,
absolutely.
shape shift with me
That's what
was
it was. Okay, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
uh,
Yeah,
that's been a minute.
yeah, for sure. Um, so just to call back a little bit to that Dwight D. Yoakam thing, and the way he
Mhm.
got in your face and was like, "Oh, I heard you do magic." Do you? How do you? So I can only equate this to comedy because I'm not gonna do them now, but like I hate when people, because they know I can do some impressions. So they'll say like, "Oh, you can do
Uh-huh.
impressions." Oh, let me hear you do an impression. Do an impression for me right now, right this minute, right in front of me.
Yeah.
Is it the
Right
same with
on.
Matt? Is it the
Yeah.
same? Is it the same with Matt? I fucking hate that. Is it the same with magic where somebody says,
Ah,
"Oh, like okay, here's my friend, Michael. He's a magician. Oh, he is. Okay, do a magic trick for me. Do you
all
are
the
you are
time.
you are you okay?
All the
Yeah,
time.
I'm sure you get that a lot, but how are you internally feeling when that's when that's sprung when that somebody says
Uh,
that? Yeah,
it's funny, like coming up around here in North Carolina, which is where I'm at, right? Raleigh,
yeah,
Chapel
right,
Hill, Durham area.
right,
Um, I used to felt like I had to impress. So in my 20s and like early 30s, I was like always kind of ready to do magic I would just wait to be asked, right?
right. Yeah,
And I felt like I had something to prove then. And I guess like, I was like 20 years ago or whatever. So like now I don't have anything left to prove,
right.
especially to some Joe Schmo rando,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
I'm like, I scared Dwight Yoakam. You could get hit by a bus tomorrow. I wouldn't care. You know what I mean? Like if I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like I just don't know them. And so why waste it? But I do offer them an option, which is great. And which is there's a bodega down by my favorite bar, Slim's in Raleigh. And I'll go, all right, you want to see some magic? I was like, you go buy me a brand new pack of cards from down there and a Sharpie marker,
yeah,
come back. And I was like, bring me a shot of Jameson
yeah.
and come out back or meet me upstairs, wherever.
Right.
And, it's funny because they have to invest in that, right? So they have to leave the
Yeah,
bar, go buy this thing. And when they come back, it's kind of a test, right? If you really wanted to see it, you would go through these steps.
right.
They come back so fucking excited because they're like, oh shit, like
So they're
I
into
just
it. Yeah,
and then they get everybody else into it. They're like, I just bought these cards. I like, holy shit, we get to watch a show now. And so everybody else now gets just de facto excited versus me like, whipping out a pack of cards and just dealing with an impression. So like people that are just like whatever about it. I mean, not that
yeah,
they would be whatever about it, just like when you kind of put that weight on it and you put that burden on them, I love
right.
that, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
you know,
Yeah,
if I was an impression guy, I'd be like, how about this? Why don't you do me an impression? We'll see how that goes, right?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of the same thing, right? Like I think that's a really great way to deal with it. This is where I've learned to deal with it. It's like I just won't do magic around random.
hmm
And if people are sincere, I'll like go out of my way to do it. I won't do the whole thing, but like sometimes bars have cards or whatever, and I might do like one or two things. But
Yeah.
they ask a lot and I deny a lot, but it's not denial out of I don't want to do it. I just don't want it to not be appreciated.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Because you
hard,
look.
you're drunk, you know, it's like,
Yeah, I mean, and you look at it, like I said, and rightfully so, as art. It is not. I don't know. I just remember growing up with like, and I hate to use the word shitty, but like, kid party magicians who
oh
aren't.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, that's totally fair. Like for people that do that, that's their thing.
yeah.
I did
That's their
one
thing. Yeah,
kid's month in my 27 years, and I'll never do it again. Like those people are saints on so many levels. But
yeah.
I don't really like kids. They're really only good for sacrificing the Satan or the Jewish space laser or whatever. But like, as far as kids go, uh, I don't really mean that, but like I just don't, and I love adults because they're so cynical, right? So
Yeah.
you have these adults really cynical about life.
Going into
Um,
it,
oh yeah,
they've
going
already
in,
got,
they're
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
I know how this shit's done. I've watched fucking whatever, America's Got Talent, whatever they're gonna fucking throw at me,
yeah,
and then it's like that's great. And the weird part for me is I don't keep time with other magicians, or I don't really hang out with other magicians. I'm just kind of like my own like island for that.
yeah.
And so like um it makes me unique in that way that I'm not like this dude who's, I mean, I've done corporate parties, but like there are people that grind it out doing the corporate parties, and they're like, hey man, but and I fucking can't stand it.
God.
Hey, I'm a corporate executive. So like I'm a very high paid corporate executive and I do research for a really large research firm. And I'm
Okay.
very well known in my industry of research, right?
Right.
And then I also do magic. So when I have to come in and be the help at a Christmas party where I know I already make more than most of these people who are try to be shitty to me, and I'm
Yeah.
still going to try to be nice to them about it. I went to this real estate one. I remember. I don't know if I did it, but have you seen me throw the card up?
I don't think so. No, I don't think
But
so.
I do this trick where I have somebody sign a card. I rarely do it anymore, but I have them sign a card, put it back, shuffle it up, and then put it in my mouth, and then can't get it, and then all of a sudden I start coughing, and it just comes out all slobbered and stuff, and it's like all
Right.
folded up in my mouth.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
cards. Um, so I was getting ready to leave this party, and the dude who had thrown the party was like, and I was already over my time, and like I was trying to just get out. It was real estate people. They're fucking weird and
Awful.
egotistical,
Yeah.
and they're drunk
Yeah.
on top.
Oh, on top of that. Yeah. God.
And and Gary was like, he was like, hey man, can you do these? Got one last trick. I was like, yeah, well, give me a shot of green chartreuse, right? And we'll call it even. I'll stay for a little bit. Comes back with the green chartreuse, shoot it, start doing the trick. And this drunk ass real estate guy, probably like 35 or so, comes in, he's like, show me a trick. And I was like, oh, that is like so wrong. So I do this trick and I go and I put it in and I start I always like fake cough and like feels like it's coming out of whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the chartreuse was so strong that I actually threw up in my mouth and I threw up
Legit.
around the card and like actual like trails of vomit were coming out of my mouth. And like in my mind, I'm like, holy shit, this is so amazing. And people are fucking grossed out. Like I mean, they're normally grossed out, but it just has
Yeah.
slobber on. Now I have actual real
Now it's
vomit.
legit. Yeah. Now it's
Oh, and
legit.
it's green because of the green chartreuse. And I pull it up and it's just vomit and slime and mucus. And then I go, is that your card? And they were just so dumbfounded. I was like, here, it's yours. You can have it. And I walked out and I was like, fuck these people. But it was the first time I ever hate magic somebody because
Yeah.
they were so mad and it caused me to vomit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a good visual, at least. It's very.
Yeah. I think they were like, did he really throw up or was that a trick? And I was like, if
You know what? You know what I hated? I hated because we're about the same age. I think we're both in our 40s.
Yep.
I hated in the 90s. I don't know exactly what year it was, but NBC ran that Magic Secrets Exposed thing. And
Oh yeah,
do you remember that? Do you remember that
yeah,
show?
I do. I actually met because it was narrated by what's his name?
I don't remember. I forget. I just remember the
Dude from the
mask.
X Files.
Okay. Okay.
Skinner. The
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
from
yeah,
Skinner.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So a funny story. Yeah, I used to watch that, and it was really like I would watch it, and I would be like, okay, that is actually legit. And I was like, that is actually not legit at all. And
Yeah.
that's so far fetched. So it's kind of like, I would say 25% of it, it could be done that way. Another 25%, it could be done that way, but it's not efficient. And then the other 50% is just ridiculous. So it was funny where people were like supposedly getting like they weren't ever revealing any secret. It was just like you
Yeah.
could look up on the internet or whatever. But anyway, I went to a Comic Con. I was performing at this place called Dragon Con down in
Okay.
Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was very strange at the time. So I would like just sleep for like a few hours and then I would go right back in the convention because the convention all stayed open all night. And we had a booth for the band I was touring with me. So I would sit at my booth and I would do magic for the people that were up early, right? And they
Yeah.
would come by. Well, he fucking comes by, Skinner from
Oh,
fucking
really?
he's at the conference, right? And
Yeah.
he's standing in the back, and I look up and I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking Skinner.
Yeah.
Right. And then and I'm trying to get him to play along because these other people are like close. There's like 5 people, and he's like the sixth one in the back. And I was like, hey man, you can come in closer, you can come pick a card. He's like, no, I'll probably tell everybody how this is done anyway. Because he's making this joke about being the narrator for that. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, not my shit, you won't. I can guarantee you that. And then like destroy him, like literally destroy him. And then he stays there and talks to me for like a fucking hour.
Really?
Just like about his like knee problems.
Back
he's like
pains.
once we went over the hump of like, yeah, I know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
But also I do this thing. He was just like so impressed. He was so cool. He was actually really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it's weird how like I've lived long enough. I'm 48 now, so like
Yeah.
I've lived long enough to have these weird fucking connections that go over like space and time and decades sometimes, like where it's just like, oh, this thing happens, and then I don't actually, it comes back here, like in this
Yeah.
weird, you know. Like Rhett Miller and them. Like I used to watch this show called Going to California, but then Old 97s did the theme song. And I used to love
Right.
that
Yeah.
theme song. I didn't even know they did that shit. And then then
Yeah.
in the future I'm touring with them. So there's your weird like thing.
Full circle. Full circle. Yeah.
And full circle.
Everything's. Do you feel like I don't know what exactly 48 is supposed to feel like, but like when you wake up in the morning, outside of aches and pains, if you have any, the outside of that, is that because I'm
I don't have aches and pains. I'm actually pretty active. Like before this,
yeah.
I ran for an hour. So I did like end up doing like 8 miles on my treadmill.
Oh, nice.
And, yeah, so I run every day if I can, and I run at least like 4 to 6 miles every day. So like I'm trying to like edge out the
Tried
aging.
it. Yeah, I busted my treadmill in the basement, so I attempt to go to the gym as much as I can, but sometimes my tiredness just wants me to park my ass on the couch, but I gotta like push myself
Oh,
to do, you
absolutely.
know.
I mean, I
Yeah.
do too. I don't want to fucking run. I
Yeah.
like you like running. I'm like, no, actually, I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Just like, but it's like the best, most efficient way to get my heart healthy and stay in kind of a shape because like I don't look 48. I get that a lot, which is
Yeah.
great. But it's also I don't know why I'm lucky. I'm not, but I'm like I'm gonna try to take care of it for a little bit longer so I can find a girlfriend or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've same, same kind of. I'll be 42 in March,
Mhm.
but I don't feel like
You don't feel 42.
I don't feel. Yeah, like I don't feel like when I think about it, I'm like, holy shit, 42. Like, what is? Because when we were, in our 20s, we looked at people who were 42, 45, 48 as like, wow, I don't, I can't even envision
Yeah, it's like
myself.
Walter Matthau. You're like, like, you know what I mean? You're like that.
I was supposed to be like Mr. Holland's Opus or something.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get that. And like, well, and you also have to remember you lost a couple years, right? So
Right.
like
Yeah.
from the time you turned 40 to 42, you kind of like
Yeah.
you went from like your late 30s, you didn't really have that like transition time out of there. And for me, like, I turned like 46 in the pandemic or whatever. And spent all those years. So I think about that a lot. It's like, the more time you have on this earth, the more time you get to realize how much you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you ever think about meeting somebody, or even ourselves, probably when we were like 20, 21, we think we know fucking everything. And they're
Yeah.
kind of the worst people to perform for, actually, because they think they know everything, but they're
Yeah.
also, they're going to get hurt the most, because I'm going to
Right.
hurt them really
Yeah.
bad. Um, but you know, as you get older, you just kind of start to reconcile some things, you know. And you know, life's messy, people are messy. You have to deal with those people in your life. And I think, you know, the quicker you can get to um not even just physical health, but that mental health, I think really
Yeah.
helps with those aches and pains. It really helps with that like feeling old thing. Cause I
Yeah.
don't, you know what I mean? It's like, cause the, for me, and I don't know if this is for you, but like for me, like, you know, I'm almost 50 now. So like,
Mhm.
holy shit. And
Yeah.
then like, that means like, I only have, I don't know if pre-programmed death is at like 65. I only have like 17 Christmases left.
Yeah. Oh, I
You
think
know
like
what I
that.
mean?
I always do that kind of math too. It's
That's fucking
yeah,
crazy, though. You're
it's
like, oh, there's only like seven. Like I've had 48 of these motherfuckers.
yeah.
There's only 17 left. It's like
Well,
getting to the bottom of like the good box of candy. You're
hmm.
like, oh shit, I gotta savor this shit, right? Like for
Yeah.
real. So
Well,
like now I'm in this space of like really trying to enjoy life and do the things and not be afraid to either challenge myself or just suffer any bullshit. The reason I'm saying this is because all this stuff impacts my performance
yeah.
nowadays, right? It's all about peaceful mindfulness and like thinking about stuff in different ways to amplify performance, right? So like everything everywhere all at once. I think it's on HBO or maybe even like whenever. Watch it. It kind of,
Definitely will.
Buddhism and nihilism are kind of almost so similar. They're hard to suss apart because they both kind of run into this pain is suffering, life is pain and suffering and all that shit. But then there's this beauty in that too, right? And so I love it because I start my show out with the cards, and I talk about the cards, and I talk about the history of playing cards, which is very unknown and mysterious in and of itself. But there's a lot of these really weird anomalies that happen in playing cards, and then I go even deeper, and I'm like, well, and it's so weird that we don't even know where this comes from. But this used to be paper, and that paper used to be a tree, and that tree used to be air and water and soil, and before that it was just dirt, and before that it was a thing. Like it's come all this way to be here with us today. So people are
Yeah.
going, "God damn, you have a heady magic show," but it's like I want you to weigh that. You know, I
Yeah.
want you to
Think
think
about
about
it.
that. That's everything. Like that's everything. And that's what I love about the movie. Everything's happening everywhere all at once. It just is. And the beauty is like taking a moment to recognize that. And for me, that's with my magic nowadays. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that. Like stop, let's be in this fucking moment and let's make this thing happen and let's have a time, and then it's gone. It's like a bubble. It goes,
Yeah.
and it's gone. It's like saw this magnificent giant bubble, and then you just popped it and it got on everybody, and
Hmm.
they're going, oh, that's cool. you know um but yeah, so Buddhism runs pretty high. I was in therapy for a long time during the pandemic, and
Yeah.
my therapist was like, are you a Buddhist? And I was like, I don't know, man. They're like gold statue, fat guy. They seem cool. These are the
Yeah.
things about Buddhism at the time.
Basics. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, but you have a disposition that's very Buddhist like. So she gave me this book. And when she gave me that book, I was like, holy shit, I guess I do. Like I had never read any Buddhism books. And then I just got down this whole like rabbit hole. I was just like, oh fuck, I need more of that. Like need more of that in my life. And then I started putting it into my magic. It started becoming really like kind of cool. Like
Have you
to
have you have you noticed since you've done the new come back from that? Has it been more satisfying after, as opposed to
oh yeah.
what you were producing prior to?
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
was producing for people prior to the pandemic, and now are
Yeah.
more geared towards people and less towards myself. And now I've taken a huge steering turn towards
It's more balanced.
not even balance. I'm doing it for me. And if
Yeah.
it can be so authentically, purely me,
Yeah.
then you'll experience me and this whole situation in a whole different way than you would have before because I own it now. Like I'm not trying to cater to you. I'm
Right.
trying to share with you. And there's a difference. It's kind of
Yeah.
like comedians that tell jokes at you or tell stories that's about them in a way that it makes it feel like it's also about you. I think
Yeah. Oh
that's
yeah. Well,
yeah.
that's the best. I mean, in my opinion, I love comedians like that who kind of like weave in their own reality into their performance. I mean, somebody
Yeah.
like Mark Maron or somebody like that who can, instead of doing, bit after bit after bit after bit, or as a magician, trick after trick after trick, just kind of weave it into something more reality based and more personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then somehow that like opens floodgates, emotional floodgates inside of people's brains. Like
Right.
they can just be like they can experience it so much more powerful in the same way that comedy works, like
Yeah.
like who's really good at that? What's that one guy with the red hair that talks about eating food all the time? Um,
Oh man.
you know what I'm talking about? Kind of a bigger guy, always talks about eating food. No,
Oh, you
um,
mean wait, you mean the guy that's you mean Louis?
Louis C.K.
No, Louis Anderson.
Oh no, Louis Anderson was good. No, no, he's like current now. I don't
Yeah, he
even
passed
remember.
away. Louis,
Yeah,
R.I.P.
he
Louis.
was like the Family Feud guy for a while, right?
Yeah. I had his nephew. His nephew's a comedian now. I had him on the show
Oh,
last
get
year.
out.
Josh, yeah, Josh Florog. Yep. Shout out to Josh.
Typically
Good
have
dude.
comedians on here or what?
A lot.
Like,
I have like comedians, actors. I got it next week. I have actress Hannah Fierman from horror movie VHS coming on. She's
oh, that movie. I watched that
yeah.
movie. That movie's
You see it?
fucking
Do you remember
crazy.
this? Do you
Yes.
remember the first scene, the succubus who's like,
Yeah, that's like
yeah,
half demon and shit.
she's coming
And
on
then he's
next.
still kind of like, I want to fuck her, which is totally weird. Like, man, talk about a desperate dude. You're like, I don't know, man. You see them feet? Like,
Well,
it
that was a genius segment. The episode.
really
So
was.
she'll be on next week. She's following magician Michael Casey, so you should
Oh
know
well,
that.
hell yeah.
Yeah, the
Tell him I said
succubus. He's the
hey, and I
succubus.
thought that was a really fucking creepy ass thing.
Yeah, she's awesome. So shout out to Hannah, and yeah, but lost what I was gonna say. Getting old. Oh yeah, I guess what happens when you turn 41, you lose your train of thought.
Oh yeah,
Shit.
all the time. The
Yeah.
train is always leaving the station, and you're not on it half the time. So,
Yeah. Do you go to so I know you of course open for bands and stuff, but have you been going to any shows just as a you know
a
as a fan
fan?
as a
Oh yeah,
fan
yeah. I
lately
do
or
that
still
pretty.
or
Yeah, I do that regularly. I mean, I'm always like kind of got my eye out for music. I'm really keen on like new bands.
who are you listening to these days?
Fireworks,
Okay.
the band. Have you heard them?
No, not really. They probably come up
They
soon,
just
but not
released a
really.
record. It was really fucking dope. Like everybody in my feed was like fucking freaking out. This band Dury,
Okay.
they're from Minneapolis. They kind of got this like weird pop vibe that they got TikTok famous, but they're actually really good.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
really like that. Um, there's a guy named Jerry Cinnamon I've kind of gotten into. He's from the UK.
Yeah.
And it was fucking weird because Jerry Cinnamon, I'm like, this guy's like huge. I'm seeing all these festival performances, and I realize he doesn't have a band. It's him and a fucking guitar, and he's got a space shuttle of guitar pedals and like some hookup
Yeah.
and like a stomp like kick thing so he can make his own drum beats. And he's fucking like Scottish, so you can barely understand what the fuck he says. Like when he's singing,
Yeah.
you're fine with it, but like then not.
When he's off the song, he's kind of like you need subtitles.
Yeah, and then like lately, like this band
Okay.
Meja, I think. And then Matt from the Front Bottoms turned me on to the Smile, which is Tom York's thing. So it's been like a lot of weird indie and electronic-y. I like electronic shit now, I
I've been
guess.
trying it. Yeah, I've been trying. I mean, it started with the pandemic. Like I just find a lot of people our age in our
Mhm.
40s tend to like get stuck in a certain and not kind of listen to new shit for whatever
Yeah.
reason. Maybe it's just like out of habit, or maybe it just makes them feel more comfortable. But I made a point for the past 2 years to listen to newer bands, in Philly and
Mhm.
outside of Philly, and I gotta be honest, it's really opened my eyes to a lot of new stuff I wouldn't normally had listened to,
Yeah.
and it's I recommend anybody listening, like, just you gotta just really give. your local scene a chance. Like there's so many good bands in Philly. Like you said, there's so many good bands in Philly
Hmm.
that I support, and not just Philly, just around the area, East
Everywhere.
Coast, everywhere really. That
And you
that
know,
that
honestly, there's bands that are touring and people go like, how do you meet and know everybody? Well, because I
yeah.
would go to these shows on like a fucking Monday night when no one's gonna
Yeah,
go out.
exactly. Yeah,
That's like,
get it on a weeknight. Yeah.
you know, I saw Sturgill Simpson, you know, he's like huge country guy now. I saw him play my
Yeah.
local bar to 5 people, and I was like, I brought three of them. And then the other 2 people were there, and it was like fucking church because his record wasn't even out. They were just touring to get ready to go record it, and that was the
Yeah.
record that put him on the map. His band Shovels and Rope, Lucero, men's. I used to watch the Menzingers play to like 20 or 30 people 10
Oh
years
my
ago.
God.
You know, they and
Dude,
anybody.
my biggest regret, and my brother Justin, who's watching this right now, I'm sure, is I don't know what year it was. 12. No, it might have been before on the Impossible Pass. Was they did a show at the Lanes, a bowling alley in
Oh
Asbury
yeah, yeah,
Park,
Asbury, yeah.
and they did all Operation Ivy cover songs.
Oh, Get
And
Out.
I was like, yeah, should I go? I gotta go home. I gotta get up for work tomorrow. And son of a bitch, why didn't I go? That's one of my only regrets. Like, what do you regret in life? Not going to that
You
damn
know,
Menzinger show at the bowling alley in 2010.
where they did an Op Ivy cover set, you know,
Yeah,
and like I think about that, and that would be my parting advice because there was like Nirvana for me, like in 1993, like Nirvana was playing, and I didn't come to Raleigh. I didn't live here then. I'd
yeah,
have to drive like 2.5 hours. I was like, well, they're Nirvana. They'll fucking be back, right? Like
right,
that's what
right.
I said. And then like, you know, 3 or 4 months later, he like killed himself in
Yeah.
'94. And
Hmm.
um, so I always regretted that. And then recently I was traveling like 5 or 6 years ago. I was traveling to Switzerland, and Frightened Rabbit, which is like, I love that fucking band. They're so good. Have you heard them? They're fucking terrific. Um, they were playing, and I was like, but I'm flying out at like fucking 6 in the morning. I don't want to be out too late. So I fucking pulled back because again, going, they're a
Hmm.
young band, they're great. And then I didn't realize the lead singer would have committed suicide.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, like I would have loved to hear those
Hmm.
songs like from like, you know what I mean? So I always encourage people to just fucking, you know, check your shit at the door. You don't have to go out for the whole fucking night. Go out, see a
Yeah.
couple songs, man. Like go back home and or allow it to happen because at the end of the day, right? When we were talking about being this age now, you have to
Right.
like you have to really pick and choose those experiences. And if you think those experiences are going to be around for you to do in the future, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah. No,
You
I
have
hear
these
you.
these little moments in time where you can take advantage of shit like this.
Hmm.
You just have to, you know, you just have to. I guess that's with the magic, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to create this little ripple in time for you. And you'll probably never see another magician in person again. So you should probably cherish it, right?
Absolutely.
If you don't run into me again, maybe you run into somebody else or whatever. Most times I'm the only person that people know, at least in this area, that do magic, right? So like, and I haven't even done magic for everybody. They don't even ask. They're just like, they know it's like a thing, but they're ready to watch.
Yeah.
Just, they would never ask. They were like, I just never want to ask you that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, go see the shows. Go do everything.
I
Go.
think that's it. I think that's a good tie-in as we close up tonight. Get your ass out of the house. And
Yes.
I've had that thought like recently. I was a couple months ago. I was going to something. I don't know, it was a show or something, comedy or something. It was like I was teetering, like, I stay home. And then I had the thought in my head. I'm like, in a few years, is this opportunity going to be here?
Right.
And how much? So you just got to take advantage of any kind of live art, be it
Yeah.
magic, music,
Or just
comedy,
being
anything.
around your friends,
Yeah,
man.
that
You
too, because
know, like all
it's
of it.
everything is so fleeting, everything's so temporary.
But it does have a cap. My favorite saying is like, nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m.
Yeah,
That actually holds true. So
mm,
like if you're worried about it, like if you're making a decision at 2:30, probably the wrong decision. Just go home. Right?
yeah,
Right. But like, oh, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna go party at Jack's house. And you're like, no, man,
yeah.
no.
Make your decisions pre
Oh
witching
yeah,
hour,
yeah.
pre
Yeah.
witching hour.
2 a.m. Just call it. No matter
Yeah,
what's going on. I don't care if there's like naked aliens walking down the street. Just go home. Just go home. It's not worth it.
I don't know. I might go for the naked aliens. It's been a
It
while.
depends on
Anyway,
what they look like. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. You know, Mars, girl from Mars Attacks was not too bad. Anyway, Michael, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, man.
Thanks so much for coming on the show tonight. It's been
Thanks
an
for
honor.
having me.
And you know, where can I know I always say this when I have guests, but there's people watching who are seeing you for the first time. So where can they find you? And do you have anything coming up you want to plug? Just plug away, man.
Yeah, you can find me Casey Magic, CASEY Magic.
Gotcha.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's all there. Yeah, I don't have any shows coming up per se. But I am thinking about starting to put some stuff online, like on Instagram, maybe as I'm kind of retiring some things. I might do like one last performance and throw it up as a video or something like that.
Good idea.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. Like I just did. I like in September. I think I did I sold out Third Man Records in Nashville. That was kind of awesome. So I'll probably go back and do that again this year. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll perform at the Magic Castle in 2023. So that's kind of on my bucket list. So if that happens, you'll be hearing me shout it from the rooftops because it's been a lifelong goal of mine to achieve that. So
I hope so, man. And if you ever come out back East Coast,
oh hell yeah.
I know you're in North Carolina, but anytime East Coast, I'll seek you out and I will check out a show for sure. So whoever
oh man, let's just hang out and get some cheesesteaks from Pat's.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Pat's, Geno's, Tony Luke's, wherever. And if we ever find that the body of that other DIY punk rock music magician, we'll dig him up. We'll dig him up and throw him in the
resurrect him.
Yeah, we're
resurrect him.
Be Halloween season.
Well.
But, all right, brother. Thanks so much for coming on the show,
thank
man.
you so much. I love you.
Love you too, brother. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Like flags from corner to corner,